making or taking a false oath. Saying something like, I swear to God, I didn't do that. Oh, I swear to God, I'm going to pick you up at 5. But then there's people who say, I swear to God, I didn't do that, but they actually did do it. So they're taking a false oath because they're saying, God is my witness that I didn't do it, but they actually did do it. Look at what Jesus taught us about swearing in God's name. Matthew 5:37. Simply let your yes be what? And let your no be what? Anything beyond this comes from the evil one. If you didn't do something, just say you didn't do it. If you're going to pick somebody up at 5 o'clock, then just pick them up at 5 o'clock. Why do you have to say, I swear to God, I didn't do that? Just say you didn't do it. Just be a person of your word. If you said you're going to do something, do it. And if you say you're not going to do something, don't do it. Let me show you another way. A false appeal. God told me to. Think about that for a moment. God, how many times have you heard that? God, now listen, let me clarify. Yes, there are going to be many times in our lives when God is going to put a desire in our hearts, and we're going to pursue that desire because we believe God is calling us or leading us in that direction. But that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about the biggest conversation stopper that could ever happen in a conversation. A husband and wife are talking about, hey, should we fix the car or should we buy a new car? And they're going through that. Should we fix it? Should we buy a new car? But then somebody comes out and says, well, God told me we got to buy a new car. Oh, really? God told you that? Because God didn't tell me that. Think about that. What you're really doing there is you're really imposing your will on the conversation. Because what you're really doing there is, no, I want the new car. So I'm going to use God's name to help me get that new car. Oh, you see where I'm going with this? But in reality, what husband and wife should be doing is praying together when it comes to making decisions. Hey, I'm sensing God's telling us to do this, but what's God telling you? If God's telling her, God's telling my wife the same thing that God's telling me, that's a really good sign. Why? Because now we got 2 witnesses that God's saying it. Now you can proceed with confidence. But if one of them is saying, I'm not sure about this, then maybe that's God saying, put the brakes on it for right now. Third way that we can misuse God's name, right? I swear to God I didn't do it, but you did do it. God told me to, but no, God didn't tell you to. That's what you want to do. You're just using God. Third way, a false religion.